The paintings in this exhibition run for about 8 years of work from 2012 until 2020. And what's kind of nice about being able to see all of that work collected together for the first time is that it really shows the progression of my thinking and my approach to painting in terms of finding subject matter, finding a purpose with my work, but work that engages somebody on an intellectual level, work that is thought-provoking and gives a viewer pause to really stop and just engage with the painting. And whether or not someone comes away with an interpretation or an understanding of the painting, that's really secondary. I just want the work to be engaging to where a person just feels like it's a rewarding experience to spend time looking at the piece and they find something that's worthwhile. The older pieces, going back to 2012 and running through maybe 2015, give or take a little bit of time, those pieces are certainly more heavy-handed in terms of me wanting to have something to say. And a lot of that just stems from trying to really get comfortable with my work, to try to feel like the work is justified. I think a lot of times artists put meaning, deliberate, specific meaning in their pieces because they're trying to give it, a reason, a justification for being. And instead of just letting the work have its own existence, artists often plug in, some type of a metaphor or a message or a concept that they think the work might need. And in the older pieces, I'm doing that a lot more deliberately. But the work goes on from there, where there is a mixing of the human figure with some type of element of landscape. I did a series of work where I borrowed from where I live in West Tennessee and went out and photographed the rural environment of West Tennessee and incorporated the landscape into my paintings. And that was a way of kind of bringing in where I was, into my life. I'm born and raised in Indiana and moved to West Tennessee in 2008. And so, this was a new experience, a new geographical area, a new culture. So by going out and really interacting with the landscape and then painting it and putting it into the work was my way of getting myself mixed into this new chapter in my life and in the life of my family. So there's some pieces that have the West Tennessee landscape in them. The other series that is in the show is I was using wood as a metaphoric element. So whether it was a full sheet of plywood or just a wooden block or a wooden shape of some kind, I was using wood as a stand-in for some type of abstract concept, some kind of metaphor. The style, of course, is very illustrative. Everything's painted with a level of realism. As the work progresses and we get into 2000, maybe 2016, maybe 2017, the work gets to be a little more painterly. I'm not locked into a tight illustrative style, but I begin to loosen up and become a little more expressive. And I also begin introducing other elements of painting into the work, where it's not just a literal window into a space, but the compositions now incorporate drips and smudges and brush strokes, along with added elements of kind of kitschy, campy painting styles. A couple of the paintings have, what look like paint by numbers elements to them, and those are, there for specific reasons. But everything gets a little looser, a little more immediate right off the brush. And I found that to be very liberating as a painter. And I think because I let looser elements into my painting process, that allowed me to then also loosen up on the meaning of the work. I feel that I am more just a part of the process of painting than I am a part of the finished image. I think that once the decision's made that the painting is done, I think the work really is its own thing. I don't have much to say or add as far as concept or meaning or message. At that point, it exists strictly to be viewed by whomever. And as I said before, my hope is that it's engaging enough to hold a viewer and have there be some interaction, when the work is looked at. It's certainly very liberating to be where I'm at right now. It just whatever, there's not much that I think is wrong in terms of what I see or what I think I might want to put in a piece. Now, there might be wrong combinations. Like I mentioned before, some things just don't work. But as far as each individual thing, I don't close my mind off to that. I try to just let everything be a possibility, if it's worthwhile, if it's thought-provoking, or if it could be made thought-provoking, then